It's Friday, May 17th. This is an end of the day and end of the week SPY recap. And today on the daily chart, we end up with a two down green bar and really not too surprising at all. First of all, after yesterday's kind of exhaustion bar here, we expected those lows to be tested, but we know we're in an overall uptrend as defined on the weekly chart, which is green, and the, let me get to it, the monthly chart, which is green. So you know the continuity is to the upside. You knew this was the last day of the week here, so any pullback was still going to keep this weekly chart green enough to expect higher into next week. And even though there was no real actionable signal or great opportunities today, not surprising that we didn't follow through all that much to the downside. And it sets up an actionable signal to the upside going into next week, where you should take out the high of this bar and go to at least, test the weekly high of last week. And then we'll see, in overall, all-time high category, how many weeks in a row this might want to go up. But at least we have an actionable signal to test these highs going into next week. And again, just not surprising that today would be a bit of a continuation of the consolidation. I identified exhaustion risk at the top of the bar yesterday. Here's the 15-minute chart. This is yesterday's price at this red bar. I discussed how I thought, a little choppiness and liquidity would be taken out, on the downside before the upside resumed. So it did that yesterday. It took out that little first pivot low. It took out the intraday low. Then today, between the blue lines, price started out you expect that low of the day to be tested, which is right here, and it actually did that on the first bar. Then the question was it going to follow through and kind of take out that at least intraday low, which he thought might happen? If you look at this, as I recall, on the 5-minute chart, it just went down for a second and then immediately reversed up on bar 2. So it really wasn't a trade to take here, expecting, on this bar to head lower. This bar then got neutral. Then we chop up. We take out the the intraday high without hitting the pre-market high and reverse down. And by now, you're not getting a directional day in any way, shape, or form above or below the pre-market range. And, you technically made a 2-down day here early, but you can see that you're not getting much follow through. So it's a question of, are you going to break above this high and get a strong move up at any point, even though you're chopping around all day, or is it going to continue to take out liquidity within an uptrend? So that's what it decided to do. It would come down, take out the low of the day, pop right up. Big move down, take out the low of the day. I actually bought some puts here. I shot a video just in case we would have got a big sell-off. I was able to take a small gain when it didn't follow through, because I'm very cognizant of the fact that this is an uptrend. We're taking out liquidity. And quite frankly, if you're if you have a different style of trading, all these breaks to new lows, offered you opportunities for little pushes back up. So, and then by the end of the day, obviously we came up and closed green. So it just was a tough day to trade. But again, once you saw there was no directional day, either back in the direction of the trend or breaking down, you knew it was going to be just kind of a choppy day, taking out liquidity on the downside in an overall uptrend. That should have been the mindset, however you want, whether you just sat out or wanted to play certain type of trades that, you'd buy at new lows type of thing. But anyway, it ends up with an actionable signal going into, next week. We have time to go in the month to continue higher. And, I'm comfortably looking at this uptrend and feeling comfortable that, just keep buying opportunities as they set up, either intraday or, on the daily chart. When you have this actionable signal, that's a good, now a trade to look to go to the upside. Other days you might get pauses along the way, but now we've paused for 2 days. So let's see if we kind of get a strong opening heading into the start of the week to head to the upside. And that's about it. Again, nothing surprising at all today. In terms of just after watching opening price action stay between the pre-market range, that you can kind of sense that weekly chart was going to hold green and lead into higher prices into next week. So if you're like a longer term trader, you kind of knew that this was a strong week to the upside that likely should hold the midpoint of this week and at least try to follow through. And the way this fails, again, let's say we head up a little bit early in the week. If somehow we get a failure and then come through the midpoint of that bar, that might give us an outside week to the downside. But as long as we kind of hold the midpoint of this green weekly bar, expect higher prices. If we then make higher prices, let's just go day by day like we did this week to see if you get continued momentum to the upside. So that's it for this week, and we will tune in again on Monday.